understand everybody's sad, but hey, somebody got to be sad at the end of the day. We need to get this.
From interviews, Lil Jeff's killer seems like a cool dude, but behind the scenes he is wild, and now there are reports that he was acting crazy in court, something we should have seen coming considering he emptied a whole clip into Lil Jeff's chest and a paperwork. You say he was hit 19 times in the chest area to casually saying that he doesn't care that he killed Lil Jeff. Details coming in from the courtroom are wild. We might be dealing with a straight-up maniac. This story just keeps getting crazier, so let me put you up to speed. Lil Jeff's killer completely lost it when Trap City Rob got picked up by the cops. At first, everyone thought it was because of Lil Jeff's death, but according to Trench's News, he was actually arrested because shooting Lil Jeff 19 times while he was already on the ground wasn't considered self-defense. Instead, it could only be called overkill. Paperwork can say he was hit 19 times in the chest area, he was shot 19 times, and that's, I think they grab Rob for the murder because it's overkill. It ain't self-defense 19 times. I mean, shooting someone who's already defenseless on the floor 19 times is beyond wild. Some would even call it straight up crazy. And while a lot of people believe Lil Jeff got what he asked for, Trap City Rob was already behind bars, possibly facing serious charges for what many would consider self-defense. However, new reports have started surfacing on Reddit showing that Trap City Rob had his charges downgraded. Trap City Rob was first charged with first-degree murder, but now his charge has been reduced to only a gun charge. A post on Reddit said that he was first arrested because a witness told the police that he was at the place where Lil Jeff was killed. This made the Chicago police start an investigation, but they could not find enough proof that he was the one who pulled the trigger. Because of this, they dropped the murder charge and only gave him a gun charge. A few months later, a photo of Trap City Rob was posted on Reddit. He looked healthy and in a good mood. His fans, who had been waiting for updates, were very happy to see this. For them, he was not just another person stuck in the system. He was someone who did what many people believed needed to be done. Before he went to jail, Lil Jeff's killer already had a strong reputation. From his old interviews, it is clear that he is not afraid of anything. Many people see him as a real OG. He has also said that he does not feel sorry for what happened to Lil Jeff. In his eyes, Lil Jeff made the wrong move and had to face the result. Even though some people feel sad about Lil Jeff's death, Trap City Rob says he had to do what needed to be done. He had to protect his side from the enemies. In the end, somebody is always going to feel sad. But the real question is, when will all of this stop? And if anyone thinks Trap City Rob is afraid that his enemies will come for revenge, they are very wrong. He knows exactly what he is doing, and he is ready for anything. The Bloodhounds are clearly looking to strike back. If they take out Trap City Rob, it would send a strong message to the rest of their enemies that they are not weak. They've already started sending him death threats, but he does not care at all. His answer to them is very simple: he was born ready. When someone asked him about the threats, he just laughed and said, "Man, people have been trying to kill me my whole life. I do not take that serious." This whole situation is a lot like what happened with Quando Rondo after King Von's death. Quando told the people threatening him to stop talking on the internet and actually do something. But 1 year later, his enemies caught him at a gas station. He survived, but his cousin LPP was not so lucky. However, Trap City Rob might be different. On June 8, 2024, cameras recorded a series of events that showed he was serious about handling his enemies. In the early hours of June 9th, famous journalist Kyle Mazza shared shocking news on his social media. He reported that an unknown man had been shot and killed in Chicago, Illinois on June 8th. Soon after, Spot News confirmed that the victim was Chicago rapper Bloodhound Lil Jeff. At around 5:14 in the evening on Saturday, a shooting happened on the 6600 block of South Rhodes Avenue. A man, known as John Doe, was standing near the sidewalk when bullets hit him in the chest. The report said that emergency teams took him to the hospital, but he did not survive. Right now, no one has been arrested, but police found many shell casings at the scene. It did not take long before CCTV footage of the shooting started spreading on the internet. The 5-minute video showed exactly how everything happened, and it was shocking. Security cameras in the area recorded a group of people standing near a house with several parked cars. Among them were Lil Jeff's friends. One was in a black car, another was dressed all in black, one was in red, later identified as Q50, and another was wearing a white hoodie. At the same time, a man in yellow shorts was trying to get into a car when Lil Jeff saw him. In the footage, the door of the black car suddenly opened, and Lil Jeff jumped out. Without wasting a second, he ran straight toward the man in yellow shorts. But within moments, he disappeared behind a big pillar of the house. While Lil Jeff was chasing his target, his friends did not follow him. Instead, they turned their attention to a gray car and started shooting. Lil Jeff managed to hit the man in yellow shorts once in the chest, but before he could do anything else, two other men suddenly came out of an alley and fired back. The bullets hit Lil Jeff hard, throwing him backward onto the ground near the porch. As he lay there, the shooters did not stop. Reports say they emptied an entire clip, making sure he was not getting back up. The shooters did not stop after knocking Lil Jeff to the ground. They stood over him and kept firing until they were sure he was not getting back up. H50 and the other shooter tried to fire back, but it was already too late. There was nothing they could do to save him.
Berger say he was hit 19 times in the chest area.
He was shot 19
times. And that's how I think.
Lil Jeff's own crew did not even stay to help. They jumped into their car and sped off, leaving him lying there in a pool of blood. When the video ended, police scanner reports confirmed that someone who had been shot 15 times was rushed to the hospital by his friends. CCTV footage showed Lil Jeff's crew carrying him from the porch where he had been gunned down. But even though they tried to save him, the doctors could not do anything. He was pronounced dead as soon as he arrived at the hospital. When the police got to the scene, they found shell casings everywhere, 58 of them scattered all over the pavement. Meanwhile, the man in yellow shorts, who was also shot, made it to the hospital with his own crew. He had a bullet wound in his chest, but he was still alive. Trap City Rob might feel like he is ready if the Bloodhounds try to get revenge, but there's someone else who makes the situation even more serious: Lil Jeff's older brother, J Boogie. For J Boogie, this is not just about the streets. It is personal. But the shocking part is that Lil Jeff was not even killed by his enemies. He was taken out by his own gang members. This has caused a lot of tension in Chicago. Just 5 months before J Boogie was supposed to be released from prison, he got the heartbreaking news: his little brother had been killed in a shootout that went completely wrong. To make things worse, J Boogie and Lil Jeff were not even on good terms before this happened. Just 3 months earlier, when J Boogie was still locked up, a leaked email showed how upset he was about the path his little brother was going down. He wrote, "I am trying to make it out as soon as possible, but I know he is losing himself. I do not even know who he is anymore. It is like he thinks he is bigger than me. I told him it does not even feel like I have a brother out there." Now, Lil Jeff is gone, and J Boogie never got the chance to fix things with him. This kind of pain can push someone to do something reckless. But what makes it even worse is the internet. Strangers who do not know J Boogie, do not know Lil Jeff, and do not know anything about the streets are online making things worse. They are hyping up the situation, telling J Boogie to take revenge, and making everything even more dangerous. The internet is a dark place, full of people who enjoy seeing others get hurt just for their own entertainment. Right now, Lil Jeff's big brother, J Boogie, is in a very difficult situation. Just days before Lil Jeff was killed, he made one thing very clear. If his enemies ever took him out, his crew had to take revenge for him. By the rules of the streets, J Boogie had no choice. He had to do something for his little brother. But there was one big problem. The people who killed Lil Jeff were once his own friends. In fact, he never really had any issues with them. Things became even more confusing when Lil Jeff's enemies, Trap City, reacted to what happened. They were just as surprised as everybody else. They never had problems with J Boogie, but they also knew the rules. They understood that he had to take action for his brother. In a vlog, OTF Black, along with Trap City members Taro and Rob, shared something surprising. OTF Black said that when he was in prison, he was actually locked up with J Boogie's father. But that was not all. J Boogie had also grown up under the Black disciples, which meant he had always been cool with Trap City. At that time, nobody knew what would happen next. J Boogie was still in jail, but when people heard that he was coming home 2 years early, and just months after his brother was killed, everyone was waiting to see what he would do. Would he stay with the Bloodhounds, the gang he had been loyal to for years? Or would he stand by his childhood friends? But in the end, blood is thicker than water. 3 months after his little brother's death, J Boogie was finally free. And when he came home, he made his choice clear for the whole world to see. He went live on Instagram, hanging out with Q50 and doing what Bloodhounds usually did. He showed everyone where he stood. In his first interview after coming home, he sat down with DJ UDV. When they asked him about Q50, he did not hesitate. That is like Lil Jeff's right hand. What do I think about him? What do you mean? That is my brother. I love him. Since Q50 was one of the last people to see Lil Jeff take his final breath, it was no surprise that they were already talking about getting revenge. But the pressure to do something was not just coming from fans on the internet or from the Bloodhounds. It might have also been coming from inside J Boogie himself. What many people do not know is that deep down, J Boogie might secretly blame himself for his little brother's death. And the reason? It will shock you. In his DJ UTV interview, J Boogie revealed something personal. He got involved in the streets when he was only 13 years old. J Boogie was just a kid when he got involved in the streets. Probably around 13, maybe 14, he said in an interview. But the saddest part is that he was the one who brought his little brother into that life. When someone asked Lil Jeff who introduced him to the streets, he answered without thinking. "My brother," he said. "Your older brother, right?" the interviewer asked. "Yeah," Lil Jeff replied. It did not take long for Lil Jeff to start hanging out with the wrong people. He was always with Q50, Fawn, and others, and all of them were already deep into addiction. By that time, they were completely lost in that world. H50 even bragged on Instagram that he spent more than $500 every day on drugs. In another interview, Vert admitted that he spent around $400 every single day just to stay high.
You don't be getting death threats. That's why I was asking. You ain't even get a chance to even ask that shit.
Vert was so badly addicted that during interviews, he was often too high to stay awake. Even the person accused of killing Lil Jeff made fun of the Bloodhounds online, calling them junkies. He posted, "Why would I want to hang out with Vert? He is just a kid and a fool. I am from Trap City, not 79th, not Bloodhound. What am I doing around you and your crew sniffing pills? You all are dumb." Now, there is even a rumor that on the night Lil Jeff was killed, everybody was high on something. Lil Jeff thought he was untouchable, Q50 was stumbling around, and nothing was going as planned. Maybe that is why the Bloodhounds have been losing for a long time. Because just 1 month after Lil Jeff was shot, another well-known rapper and shooter from their crew lost his life too. On June 7th, another tragedy happened. This time, it was in the Chatham neighborhood, at the intersection of 89th Place and Langley Avenue. It was almost midnight when a Syrian Hogan, known as Lil Sko, and his 16-year-old friend, Lil Will, got into a heated argument with someone. The argument turned into threats, and in just a few seconds, guns were fired. When the shooting stopped, Lil Sko was lying on the ground. His friend was hurt but managed to survive. Paramedics rushed Sko to the University of Chicago Medical Center, but the damage was too much. He did not survive. Meanwhile, the shooter tried to run away. The police saw him and chased him, but things got out of control. Shots were fired. Chaos took over the streets. The police called for backup and even the SWAT team arrived. But in all the confusion, the gunman escaped. After Lil Sko's death, his record label shared a message. It is with deep sadness that we share the loss of our artist, Lil Sko. He was a true talent, and his love for music was clear in his non-stop work. His skills, strong vision, and determination made him one of a kind, an inspiration to many. We will miss him deeply. Our thoughts are with his family. But even after losing so much, the Bloodhounds are still fighting back. And now, they are not just after their enemies. They are even going after their enemies' families. The war for Lil Jeff is still going on. And when it comes to family, it turns out that Lil Jeff's parents were much more involved in the streets than people thought. Because after everything that happened, his father's reaction shocked everybody. Instead of mourning quietly, Lil Jeff's father shocked everyone with how he reacted to his son's death. But before we talk about him, we need to talk about Lil Jeff's mother, because what she said to her son's enemies while he was still alive was unbelievable. Lil Jeff's mother knew exactly what her son was doing in the streets. But instead of stopping him, she supported him. In a screenshot that went viral, Lil Jeff shared a conversation with her, and her words left people speechless. "Go ahead, son. Your name is ringing bells in the streets," she wrote, sounding proud of his reputation for going after his enemies. And she did not stop there. In another message, she said, "I love it. Sliding on the ones who used to sleep in the same bed as you." This was not a mother begging her son to leave the streets. This was a mother cheering him on. And Lil Jeff? He was excited. He shared the screenshot with a caption that showed how much her approval meant to him. "All I got to say is she watched me work that 6'2" to him." Her words were not just support. They were fuel, pushing him to keep going after his enemies. But if his mother's response was shocking, his father's was even worse. While she cheered him on, his father took an even stronger stand, almost calling for revenge. On Facebook, he made it clear that his son's death would not be ignored. "You all did not get him," he wrote. "He came for you all, and what happened, happened." But the saga continues. Clear the streets. For people who do not understand street life, his words were disturbing. Instead of grieving, he sounded like he was calling for war. Instead of stopping the violence, he was making sure it continued. It did not take long before Lil Jeff's crew took his father's words seriously. They were ready for revenge, and they found their target, Trap City Carter. On October 20th, 2024, news channels reported that a man had been shot and killed in Chicago. The shooting happened the night before in the city's Oakland neighborhood. It was around 8:41 p.m. when gunfire broke out on South Ellis Avenue, a street that had already seen a lot of violence. Witnesses told police that two men walked up to their target, pulled out their guns, and fired without hesitation. The 32-year-old victim had no chance. The shooters quickly jumped into a white car and sped away, disappearing into the night. Paramedics arrived within minutes and rushed the victim to the University of Chicago Medical Center. But it was too late. He had been shot many times in the chest and had lost too much blood. The doctors did everything they could, but he was pronounced dead shortly after reaching the hospital. The medical examiner later confirmed his identity. His name was Chavel Carter. Lil Jeff's crew did not stay quiet about it. Just like Lil Jeff had done in the past, they went straight to social media, dropping hints that Carter's murder was payback for Lil Jeff. They wanted the world to know that they had taken down one of their biggest enemies. H50, one of Lil Jeff's closest friends, posted on Instagram, making it very clear. They were not done. The war was far from over. H50 made a post saying that he was done sliding because he had already taken revenge for his friends, Lil Sko and Lil Jeff. He wrote, "Boy, feet kicked up now, I can get rich. I love and miss you all." But then he added, "P.S. It is not over." And he was telling the truth. The violence was not over. It was about to get even worse. Just a few days later, another person lost their life in this gang war. But this time, the person had nothing to do with the streets.
What's your relationship like with Q50? You know, we saw y'all linked up, you know.
Bleed.
What you think about Q50?
This is where things became even more shocking. Leo's family was not just some people from the streets. They were actually working to stop violence in Chicago. His father was the executive assistant of a group called Project Hood, which was trying to bring peace to the city. His brother was a youth manager, helping young kids stay away from this kind of life. But in the streets, none of that mattered. What made it even more unbelievable was what Lil Jeff did next. He went online and made fun of Leo's death. He acted out how Leo got shot and laughed about it like it was a joke. It was not just disrespect, it was another level of cruelty. But the madness did not stop there. When it came to revenge, Lil Jeff did not care who the target was. Even women were not safe. The Chicago drill scene was in shock when two well-known gang members, 25-year-old Desire McGee, also known as D-Money, and 19-year-old L Deuce, were killed in a mysterious attack. This was not just another gang war killing. This was personal. And in the streets, one name kept coming up, Lil Jeff. Because after their deaths, he could not stay quiet. He wanted the world to know. On November 1st, 2023, in the early morning, gunshots broke the silence on 83rd and South Dorchester Avenue. L Deuce and D-Money were sitting in their car, just another night in the trenches. But in one moment, everything changed. Everything changed in just a few seconds. An eyewitness later described what happened. Two people walked up to the car, moving quietly like shadows. They did not say a single word. They did not stop to think. Then, suddenly, gunfire filled the air. Bullets tore through the car as the shooters fired again and again. Glass shattered. The sound of gunshots echoed in the night, and just as quickly as they came, the shooters disappeared into the darkness. This was not a random attack. This was planned. L Deuce was shot many times in the chest. Paramedics rushed him to the University of Chicago Medical Center, but it was too late. He had already lost his life. D-Money was shot in the stomach. She fought as hard as she could, but in the end, she did not survive either. Two lives were taken in an instant. And before anyone could even understand what had happened, Lil Jeff was already back online. He started posting strange messages. He dropped hat emojis, symbols that meant body counts in drill culture. But one of them was different. A woman's hat. People began to wonder, was this his way of showing that D-Money was gone? The thought was chilling. But if that was not shocking enough, what happened next was even worse. Lil Jeff had more people on his list, and they were getting younger. He talked about school, but this was no normal school. He called it Killing School, saying that anyone who wanted to join needed at least 2 bodies. He was not just rapping. He was sending a message. And there was no doubt about what he meant. But he did not stop there. He got a new tattoo, 10 teardrops inked onto his skin. But 2 of them were connected. People online started talking, saying it had a meaning. They believed it showed 2 people taken in the same attack. Underneath the tattoo, he wrote, "If you know, you know. If you do not, forget you." For him, this was just another day in the trenches. A deadly game where only the most ruthless survived. But then, he went even further. He posted 10 hat emojis, each one representing a life that had been taken. But 2 of them stood out, 2 graduation caps. They were not just random symbols. They had a meaning. They represented Monty and Lil Rob, 2 high school boys who were shot in broad daylight. Lil Jeff had no limits. He had no mercy. And that is exactly why his alleged killer, Trap City Rob, now has so much support. But people are asking one big question: why is he still behind bars?